Welcome once again to Cheesy Dan Reviews. As always, I'm Cheesy Dan. Today on the menu, we have Californiapizzakitchen, specifically the 4-cheese, crispy, thin crust variety. So this pizza was started by two guys out of Beverly Hills, California back in 1985. If that sounds like a long time ago to you, it really doesn't to me because I'm actually older than that. Not by much, but I guess that makes me old.
I'm old, Gandalf.
Oh well. In any case, this pizza is known pretty well as having a good reputation. However, I have not personally had a California Pizza Kitchen before. I know you could find them in airports and other places. They do have over 200 locations, so maybe you've had a chance to try it. I personally haven't. So, the only thing we can do with this part is we're going to cook it up, we're going to cut it up, eat it up, and then we're going to give it a Cheesy Dan score to see if this pizza is worth your dough. So, let's find out. You found the perfect place for the picky eater to pick their preferred piece of pizza. On this channel, we're going to be reviewing the Californiakizzakitchen cheese pizza. We're going to review it based on its appearance, its day one taste, its value, stick a slice in the fridge, come back on day 3, and get its reheat score. Then we're going to take all 4 scores, add them together, divide them by 4, and then we'll know the cheesy score. So stick with us to see if this pizza is worth your dough. Now that we've gotten a chance to unbox it, let's see what it looks like. Well, there is a lot of cheese coverage. In fact, you can kind of see some of the different cheeses. They advertise this one as having 2 types of mozzarella, fontina, hickory smoked Gouda, cheeses over herb tomato, and olive oil sauce. So, hey, sounds pretty fancy to me. I guess at this point, we just need to put it in the oven, see how it heats up. But I do want to address the value at this point. I bought this pizza for $9.99 plus tax at my local Publix. I did do a little bit of shopping and I saw that at Target had it for about $2 cheaper. But of course, as they say, results may vary. It depends on where you do your shopping and what prices are in your local area. But at around $8 to $10, it does put it a little bit on the higher end as far as at-home pizzas. Typically, you want to see an at-home pizza somewhere around $5 for a single pizza. So this one is a little bit on the higher end. I'm going to put this one at a 5. I would say that, at $8, it's not crazy expensive. At $10, I think the score would be lower. But considering you can get it for an $8 price, we'll put it at a 5 as far as the value score goes. So the only thing left for us to do is take this pizza, stick it in the oven at 400 degrees, let it heat, and then we can start cutting it up and start tasting it, giving it its next score.
I thought I almost lost you there.
The greatest teacher failure is.
Well, after it's had a chance to cook up, we're going to go ahead and give it its initial appearance. You can see that the cheese cubes and the other cheeses did do a good job of melting out. There is decently good coverage all the way out to the edges of the thin crust. However, you are still seeing some of the pizza sauce poke through. So not terrible coverage by any means, but definitely could have had a little more cheese, especially when you got to describing how many different cheeses they included. I'm going to give this one an initial appearance score of a 6. Not a bad showing, just obviously could have used a little bit more cheese to make sure that it was fully covered. Let's pick a slice. I'm going to go to the back here, which is not normally what I do. So we're going to let this cheese cool off, and then we're going to give it its day one taste score. Well, the eagle-eyed amongst you may have noticed a slight body modification that happened to me before I filmed this video. If you look here, you can see that my dog decided she wanted to, I guess, slice into me like I like slicing into the pizza. Isn't that right, ma'am? Yeah, there's no shame in her eyes. Oh well. Well, now that the Californiapizzakitchen 4-cheese pizza has had its chance to cool off, it does look pretty good. Now it's time to go ahead and give it its day 1 taste test. You can see it is definitely a thin crust style. Overall, pretty good look, so let's take a bite. I am definitely tasting some of the smoked flavor in the cheese. It's not something I'm really used to experiencing in a cheese pizza. No complaints out of it. It's not a bad taste at all. The kind of the mix of cheese is a little bit interesting. Again, nothing bad. It's just not what I'm used to tasting. Normally you think of the mozzarellas, occasionally the provolone or the cheddar.
And Gouda!
It's not as often that you find Gouda cheese or, something of that caliber in a cheese pizza. So overall, a good flavor profile, a lot stronger. I guess the cheese is a bolder cheese flavor than what you normally experience.
Now that's bold.
I'm gonna put this day 1 taste test, I'm gonna put this one at a 7. It's not because there's anything per se wrong with it. It's not my taste for a pizza, but it is good. And it's definitely, you could tell there was a lot of artisanal work, I guess, put into this pizza. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a day 1 taste score of a 7. So with this one starting off, it's a pretty strong showing right off the rip. So I guess the only thing left for us to do, we need to stick it in the fridge, come back on day 3, give it its day 3 score, and then we can find out what the cheesy score is.
3 days later.
Welcome to day 3 of the Californiapizzakitchen 4-cheese pizza. Now that we've gotten it out of the fridge, get a chance to look at it once more, you can still see some of those pizza cubes kind of still showing up. But overall, not a bad looking pizza. Seems to have held itself together pretty well. Doesn't look too much different than what it did on the first day. So now what do we got to do? We got to stick it in there, warm it up, give it a taste, and then we can get our day 3 score so we can finally see what the cheesy score is for the Californiapizzakitchen. So let's get to heating it up. Little overkill.
I can't believe you're jealous.
Pizza looks pretty good. Now we just got to let it cool off, give it its taste. Definitely a good looking pizza. One thing I did not mention, and I really kind of should have, was the smoked, the smoked smell and flavoring is pretty strong.
You'll get used to the smell.
In fact, even reheating this pizza on day 3, I am definitely smelling that smoked smell all over again. So it's definitely, if you're into that type of a cheese, like a smoked cheese, you're definitely going to be happy with this one because that definitely comes across pretty strong. But let's go ahead and let's take that bite. Overall, the cheese flavoring, it all stays true to day 1. It does hold up very well. The crust is not bad. It's not really something you're really tasting so much as you're just experiencing the thin and a little bit of a crunchiness to it. The pizza sauce itself, that again usually tends to be the part that lets you down over time the most. And in this case, that's kind of the case. You're starting to really lose some flavor value to the pizza sauce itself. With that in mind, it doesn't lose a whole lot from day 1, which is good. Instead of coming in at a 7 like it did on day 1, this one's going to come in at a pretty solid and respectable 6.5. Not something that you should be bothered one bit to put in the fridge and come back on day 3 and get some extra leftovers. Still going to be a good pizza, nothing that you're going to regret. So overall, this pizza, the California Pizza Kitchen, it's doing pretty good. I can see now why they've been around and they've been a popular pizza option. So with our scores where they've fallen so far, with a day 1 appearance of 6, a day 1 taste of a 7, a value score of a 5, and now it's day 3 pizza test of 6.5. That has this pizza finishing at a cheesy score of 6.125. So at 6.125, that puts the California Pizza Kitchen in 9th place. It finishes just below the Cece's Alfredo and the Tombstone 5 cheese, and it finishes above the Marco's Big Cheese, the Screaming Sicilian Bessie's Revenge. Look, now I'll tell you too, some people get a little bit hurt that Bessie's Revenge would come below this pizza.
You wounded me and insulted me.
But keep in mind, I like to score it with value in mind, because if you're a value shopper like me, and when you're picking a pizza, price matters. It's not just taste above all. Taste is important and price is equally important. You know, if it's the best pizza in the world, but it's $100, you can't eat it very often. So I keep that in mind, and with that, we finish out at a 9. Not a bottom row and not top, but not a bad showing for the California Pizza Kitchen. Maybe you've had opportunity to eat these and you feel a little bit stronger one way or the other. Maybe you really are not a fan of that smoked flavor. Hey, that's fine. It's not necessarily my cup of tea, but it's definitely an interesting change of pace when it comes to cheese pizzas. But if you've made it to this point in the video, I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for being a part of this new channel that we're growing here. And I just want to ask you, if you've been watching and you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like it, put some comments in, tell me about what your favorite pizza is, give me a recommendation. Until we eat again, stay cheesy.